Hello, I'm Mark Hilliard from Beyond 20. Today we're going to be talking briefly about reports and the report designer. One of the things that early on I discovered was it's very difficult to keep things lined up properly in a report so that it prints out appropriately. And the designer does give us several options for how to keep things lined up with a grid. And by default, you can drag items around within a band, or between bands for that matter, and they will snap to other objects, as you can see here. It gives you a nice little sort of fuchsia line to tell you what it's lining up to. And if I wanted to, I can also use my arrow keys to move something and snap it to the next object, or even to the edge of the report. However, if you want to move things a little more manually, or you don't want them snapping, how do we do that? Well, the way you do that is you want to deal with the properties of the report. I've found that actually the easiest way to get to the report properties is to simply click in a blank area of the report designer, and you'll see now my property grid shows the actual report itself. And what you're looking for in the properties is the snapping area down in design, snap grid size, snap to grid, and then snapping mode. If you do not want it to snap to a grid at all, you can simply turn that off by changing this from yes to no. And doing that means instead of, when I use my arrow keys, instead of snapping to the next object, it simply moves a pixel at a time. If I need to go back, I can simply re-enable my snapping. And now when I select that same object, it will snap back where I want it. Additionally, if you go in the snapping area, you will see that you can snap to the lines or to the grid. Snapping to lines really means snapping to other objects. Snapping to the grid means it's going to snap to the actual grid itself. So if I change to snap to grid, you'll see now it actually is going to snap to the various grid boxes in the background. And then of course you'll see in the snapping mode, you also can change the size of the grid. Right now it's at 12.5 pixels. You can change that to whatever size you actually need. I do like the snap lines for a lot of what I do. However, occasionally I will find that it is very useful to be able to turn that off, and finding things inside the report designer can sometimes be challenging. I hope that this helps some folks out, especially as they are designing custom reports within their system. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at our website at www.beyond20.com, on Twitter at Beyond20, or by phone, which is also available on our website.